So start at the back. Nearly got the fresh water plumbed in. Just need to plumb the back of this into the system. It's the outdoor shower for the back of the van. Not much else to show you in the first cupboard. Second cupboard, this is a beta. Don't think it's good enough, so I'm going to probably cut that out and put a grill over the top, but I wanted to get some airflow in there for the batteries, which are stored behind. Above it now is the bin drawer, and this was a labour of love, and I'm not completely satisfied with it because actually it's quite hard to get in to lift the lid on the bins. Lovely big bins though, with handles, so you can take them out and dump them. It's slightly contentious in that the battery and electrics cupboard is behind there, and of course incomplete at the moment, so it's a bit of a faff to get to. You can obviously just lift the bins out of the drawer if you want quick access, but you're usually going to have to unclip the drawer runner and take the whole of the bin drawer out to work on the electrics, which is fine. It's doable. What else has happened? Next door we've got a nearly complete shower. I've just dropped the plug in down there because I finished running the wastewater pipes under the van. I'm waiting for the fresh water to be ready to test before I seal that up, because there's a right angle John Guest push fitting under that floor there. So I need to test it before I seal it. The shower obviously hasn't yet been tested, but that is now fitted and looks great, I think, and I really like this wall. Need to wait till the water's commissioned before I then fit the cladding to two walls. And I think I found a shower door that I'm going to buy. Just going to strike them a deal tomorrow to see if they want to get rid of the one that's been hanging around in their January sale offers. Seem to be having some trouble with the heater. I still haven't tested it for water, but it's smoky and doesn't get particularly hot, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I've done some fettling to the side panel here because I decided, as well as putting a little cupboard in to make the most of any extra space we've got, that I was also going to put in a filler point for the jerry can for the diesel for the heater. I'm just waiting on a level gauge there, which will be on a temporary, momentary switch to check the levels. So the panel's looking quite fun, and once the gauge is in, obviously it's all running off that diesel, it's good to go, but just need to sort the diesel heater out really. Fridge is in, not wired up yet, but you've probably seen these before. They're a lovely bit of kit that opens either that way from the outside to grab yourself a cold beer when you're sitting outside, or from that way when you're inside cooking dinner. So, I need to paint that. Yeah, it was a tight fit, but it was designed to be, and it's snug and flush, so really good. Very clever bit of design, that. Yeah, so the kitchen will be finished after the fridge is wired up and the water's tested. Oh, well, of course I haven't done the gas. Gas is plumbed in behind the hob, but not to the cooker because the cooker's still not here. And I'll probably put in an outdoor gas connection for an outdoor barbecue. I think that's it really. Yeah, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but it's fun while doing it, and spring is around the corner, so hopefully we'll be off in the van. Right, I'm gonna talk myself through this because I've basically wired up this CBE system. It's an Italian brand. It came with the van when I bought it, and it's made up of 3 components: a battery charger on the right there, the black box, the 240 volt RCD and distribution in the middle there, and then the 12 volt DC control panel and fuse board. And what you can't quite see, well, you can see the terminals at the bottom here, is the brand new lithium battery that I've got, which is very nicely sitting at 13.2 volts. It charges very well from the alternator, but all the wiring is in place only because that's how it happened during the build, so there's a lot of work that needs to go into tidying it up. I've bought so there's a couple of bits to fit. First is the MPPT for the solar panel, which I just need to find a spot for where it doesn't interfere with the bins. And then I've got this rather swanky looking piece of kit, which is a 100 amp fuse breaker for the main power from the battery into the different circuits. So I've got 4 terminals because this 12 volt DC distribution, the CB one, needs to come off here as one, and then I've got 3 other sort of mini fuse boards elsewhere in the van. One on the other side by the kitchen for the kitchen appliances, one in the cab for things like the seats, the sub, and some auxiliary lighting, etc. And the 4th is for this distribution block on the side wall in here, which is for all the other 12 volt accessories on this side that need a constant power, because that's switched. Basically, that's the crux of it. This is only going to end up controlling the lights, mostly. So quite a lot of it will be redundant, but actually it's got a relay to switch the split charge from the cab to the leisure battery, so I'm just going to keep it primarily for that reason, really, to be honest. The master switch for the light's quite useful, and of course it's got things like level gauges for the tanks and for batteries and stuff like that, so there is a good reason to keep it, as well as adding in the other 12 volt distribution blocks. So today I'm going to have to rewire everything, wire it back up through this. I've got a plan of how I want everything to run, which is complicated because of the I nearly called it 3-body problem, the 4 different circuits, really, isn't it? So yeah, so we need most things are either always on or switched, whereas the master switch, which is controlled through that CBE unit, is really only for the overhead lights and the LED strips, and the USBs as well, I think, because we can leave the master switch on overnight to power the USBs to charge phones, and then we can turn the lights, the LED strips and the overhead lights off with the dimmer switch. So it does make sense. I've thought through it all, and then I just need to wire up. So at the moment everything's, you can't see it probably, but everything's just plugged in straight to the raw connectors on the unit, on the CBE unit, whereas in actual fact they all need to go in through these. So I've got a special tool, and there's a bunch of different plugs that they need to go into to sit into the various allocated pins. So I'm not going to do that first. I need to go back to the battery. I've got to run a cable from the battery, a big fat cable from the battery to this, put the other fuses in, then run other cables. They're not going to be fat cables, that's for sure, to the other distribution blocks. Why have I got such short cables? Maybe that was literally from the battery to this. Okay, yeah, so this is from the battery to this, which will hopefully mean I can use my 500 amp battery monitor as well. which is already wired up on the wall over there, because at the moment I'm not getting a readout. So I've got a Hall sensor, probably can't see that, but at the moment it's got a poxy little negative cable going through it, and it's not giving any readings. It's useless, but I'm hoping that with the fatter cable it will pick up the current draw. Alright, that's my spiel over. Get to work, I suppose. Well, you probably can't spot the difference, but I can. I've got all the plugs wired up for the main fuse board and distributor. I've got the main battery connections and the additional fuse box, of which I've only used 3 of the 4 terminals actually in the end. The MPPT is waiting to be connected, but I need some plugs for the top side of the PV cables. But everything else is working, apart from some reason my shunt, which admittedly is a Chinese one, but I'm getting a voltage readout on my display, but when I apply a load, well, when I turn anything on, I don't get an amp drop. So I'm going to wait to see if wiring up the solar panels changes that for a positive input under load, and if not, then think of another solution or have another tinker. Still need to do the wire tidying, obviously.